memoirless still in my mind, the strained tempo of the human opera embodied in bowed and breathing statues. So taken by its expressive power, I cannot recall the objective of my original search. I lay there, replaying a slow pan of the banished human chain, winding through a relentless flurry of white petals, chrysanthemums, yes, branches of them, and the wretched train of life blurring past. Yet returning to the same bit of film I had viewed earlier, I find no such scene. Had I unwittingly projected it? I push aside my computer and cast a ruling upon the uneven plaster ceiling. We pillage, we embrace, we know not. I get up to urinate. I imagine snow. With the delicate voice of Irma, the female narrator of Ruthlessly, fresh in my ear, I dress, grab my notebook, and a copy of Patrick Modiano's Paris Nocturne, and cross over to the neighborhood café. Workers are jackhammering the street. The deafening vibrations pervade the walls of the café. Unable to write, I read, traipsing the nocturne network. Uncertain streets, fragments of addresses, routes no longer relevant, and events that add up to a circle of nothing. I lament not writing, but figure losing oneself in the energized torpor of the Modiano universe is almost like writing. You enter the skin of the narrator with his pale sense of paranoia and preoccupation with minutia, and the space around you shifts. Inevitably, somewhere mid-sentence, I find myself reaching for my pen. Reaching the end of Nocturne, though not really an end, as vapors of future seep beyond the last page, I reread the beginning, then fast forward to my own day ahead. I am set to leave on the last flight to Paris. My French publisher has arranged a week of book-related events that include speaking to journalists about writing. My notebook remains untouched. A writer who isn't writing, going to talk with journalists about writing. What a know-it-all, I chide myself. I have another black coffee and a bowl of blueberries. There's plenty of time, and I'm a light packer. The street a construction zone. I am obliged to wait before crossing back home, while a massive crane hoists metal support beams several floors above the café, bringing to mind the opening scene in La Dolce Vita, where a helicopter transports a life-size figure of Christ above the urban rooftops of Rome. I gather my usual things for travel, setting them in a pile next to my small suitcase, as I listen again to the voiceover of the trailer. The lilt of an unfamiliar language implies the saddest of melodies suffusing. As troops advance, a young mother hangs clothes and shields her eyes from the sun. Her husband is separating the wheat from the chaff, her daughter happily at play. Intrigued, I search a bit more and find a 6-minute cut from Ruthlessly, subtitled The Birch Letter, a shot of an open window, images of whiteness, and birch trees emerging through whispered phrases and a train, and the wind, and the void. The phone rings, breaking the spell. My flight canceled. I have to make an earlier one. I swiftly get in gear, call a taxi, slide my computer in its case, camera in a sack, and cram the rest into the suitcase. The taxi arrives too quickly as I realize I haven't yet chosen what books to take. The prospect of boarding a plane without a book produces a wave of panic. The right book can serve as a docent of sorts, setting a tone or even altering the course of a journey. I desperately scan the room as if searching for a lifeline in a deep marsh. Among a small pile of unread books atop my flat files are Francine Duplessis Gray's monograph on Simone Weil and Modiano's pedigree, with the astonished face of the author on the cover. I snatch them up, say goodbye to my little Abyssinian cat, and head to the airport. Luckily, traffic is thin as we enter the Holland Tunnel. Relieved, I sink back into the voice of Irma. I imagine writing a story guided by the atmosphere, conjured by the resonance of